why now? Isn't Sturgeon simply taking advantage of division in Westminster?
Well, good morning, Tom. Why now? That's a really good question. I think it's the question being asked by a vast majority of Scots this morning. When they look at what their concerns are, they're talking about the cost of living situation, looking how they can pay the bills, the increase in energy prices, the increase in the price of fuel. They are not looking at the future of the Constitution and Scotland's place in the United Kingdom. It's an argument that, yes, it does have to be had, but really the timing of this couldn't possibly be worse. And it seems to me that Nicola Sturgeon is using this as a complete distraction from her own failures domestically as a government in Scotland. A reason to talk about process and the Constitution rather than the substantive issues of what the Scottish people are facing right now.
It's interesting looking at what's going on with the plans for a potential referendum. Ones that may not necessarily, in the mind of the First Minister of Scotland, require Westminster's consent. How does that work?
Well, you tell me, Tom. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. In 2014, a Section 30 order was granted by the UK government. That gave the Scottish government the authority to hold a referendum, legal and binding, on Scotland's place in the United Kingdom. That has not been sought as yet by Nicola Sturgeon, because she knows full well the United Kingdom government would say no to any such request, simply because we believe there are far more pressing issues that they in Holyrood, we here in Westminster, and indeed the people of the United Kingdom should be talking about and facing, rather than whether to create more division and uncertainty by having a referendum, by the way, which was settled in 2014, a question which was asked and to which the overwhelming majority of Scots said, no, we don't want to separate, we want to remain a part of our United Kingdom. And I believe the vast majority of Scots still believe that today.
SNP used to use the phrase, it was the settled will of the Scottish people that a referendum should take place, that the opinion polls used to say that the Scottish people wanted to enact partition of our island, to break up the Union. They don't quite say that anymore. Why is that?
Well, look, I think in all the years and in all the polls conducted since the referendum took place in 2014, the option of supporting independence or supporting separation only got majority support in one or two polls, and that, by the way, was in the very early months of 2020 when the country was in lockdown and the future was very uncertain. Every poll since then has shown that a majority of Scots still support remaining in our United Kingdom, and I think that was demonstrated actually in the Holyrood referendum last year, at which the Scottish National Party failed to secure a majority, and to which a majority of Scots voted for parties that support remaining in our United Kingdom. And look, this discussion that we're having today is exactly what Nicola Sturgeon wants us to be talking about. She wants us to be talking about the process of a referendum, a constitutional battle between Westminster and Holyrood, and the people of Scotland and the people of the rest of the United Kingdom. Nothing could be further from the truth as to what we should be talking about. We should be talking about how we're going to work together to solve the cost of living situation that we're facing, how we're going to work together to continue to support the people and the government of Ukraine. Those two issues, those vitally important issues, are what we should be focusing on, and frankly, Nicola Sturgeon should be ashamed of herself that she's not also focusing on those issues, given that she has responsibility for so many aspects of domestic life in Scotland.
Those issues may well be what you should be focusing on in Westminster. However, the last couple of weeks in Westminster have seemed to be a bit introspective, a bit of a psychodrama, not least within the Conservative Party. Has this given space to Nicola Sturgeon to have her own psychodrama within her own party?
And Nicola Sturgeon would take a change of weather as a substantial change that would warrant another independence referendum being put. The situation in the Conservative Party is what it is. It will resolve itself as it always does. This is a much bigger question. This is a question of who we are as a people, who we are as a nation, and where we want to go in the future. And in 2014, the Scottish people overwhelmingly decided that they thought their future was better as a part of our United Kingdom. I agreed with them then, I still agree with them now, and I do not think this question needs to be put when there are so many other issues that we should be focused on and talking about.